Hi, everybody. Welcome back to TRP. Today is extra special. We're thrilled to have with us on the telephone a beautiful and talented woman who is in her sixth decade of being the absolute best at what she does. She's performed for presidents, prime ministers, kings and queens, and well, millions of us normal folk as well. She's a five-time Juno winner and a member of the Order of Canada. There's not a guitar player on earth, no matter what the style of music, who doesn't consider her an influence. Her new album is called L.O.V.E, Love. The always spectacular Liona Boyd is with us. Thank you so much for being with me, Liona.
Hi, Scott. Yeah, we met years and years ago, but this is a whole new world these days. And anyway, nice to hear your voice.
Thank you so much. It is a brand new world. I just listed off all the countless amazing things that you've done, nearly 30 records,
Yeah.
performed all over the world. Do you still enjoy it like you did? Has it ever felt like a job after all this time?
Well, when I was a teenager, I always dreamt of traveling. So I was able through my touring career to, tour everywhere in the world. I know every little fishing village from Newfoundland to northern BC.
Mhm.
And so I combined traveling with playing. And as you know, I've played with band, I had my own band, played solo, played with orchestra, string quartet, played with singers. There's a lot of variety in my career. I've been able to write. I almost didn't take music at university because I wanted to study English literature, but songwriting, which entered my life, 10 years ago, is like, it is writing. It's like writing poems.
Yeah,
And they
absolutely.
wrote two autobiographies.
Which we'll talk about
So
as
I've
well.
been able to kind of do it all through music and met amazing people around the world too.
So it's never really felt like work.
No, I mean, I've had some very difficult travel experiences when snowstorms and Concords that lose engines halfway across the Atlantic, some nerve-wracking travel things, most of which are in my book. Crazy flight in Costa Rica, but some peak moments in my life too, and feel very, very blessed. And so far, I haven't got COVID, but I shouldn't say
Knock
that.
on.
But I've been
Do you have
touched
water?
wood
Do you have water
because
rights?
that changed everything. I don't know whether I'll be touring again. I really don't know.
Right. Is it true that the first time you ever performed in front of people, was when you were a child and you were on a ship on your way to Canada? Is that true?
Yes, yeah, I played on not on the guitar, the recorder.
Oh
I
my.
must have had some drive to perform way back then because I dragged my little sister on the stage when I was 8. We were coming to Canada for the very first time. We went back again 3 years later. And we played the Bluebells of Scotland. I was convinced we would win. An Irish tenor one instead.
Oh man.
And I used to play by myself, going Christmas caroling. I never had any idea I would be a concert artist. It was just fun. I enjoyed making music.
I think it was rigged. I think the contest was rigged, Leon.
Yes, definitely. But
Uh,
I won.
I'm-
I won the art prize twice. So even though I didn't win the talent competition, we went 3 times by ocean liner across the ocean,
oh wow.
across the Atlantic, and got
Unbelievable.
in a hurricane that first time.
Oh jeez. I want to talk about the new record. Is it called Love or is it called L.O.V.E? Which one?
No, you got it right. L.O.V.E.
L.O.V.E.
I spell it out because love is just too generic, even though it's the most important thing in life.
Yes, for sure.
I'm sure there are many albums called Love, but L.O.V.E. and I sing a little bit in Spanish.
Well, that's what I was going to say. You've had such a catalog. This is, I think, your 29th album. I'm not even sure anymore.
Yes, it
Um,
is.
this
Yeah.
album has a very Latin feel to it.
Yes, I use cumbia, Colombian rhythms, salsa. I lived in Miami. I used to live in Mexico. I've always loved Latin um, music and rhythms. I think my producer, Peter Bond, did an incredible job with the production. I mean, it's very complex, the number of layers of different instruments of which he played. I played guitar and sang. And sometimes the voice is used as layering like Enya does. I sing something like 10 times. Marta Martinez makes a guest appearance on Love, actually, on L.O.V.E. L.O.V.E, mi amor. And then I have some Spanish language. The latest one that was just released, I don't know when this airs, but is Gracias.
Mhm.
Thank you, gracias.
Mhm.
And that's sort of reflecting on my incredible experiences and my gratitude for all the things that have come my way. It was filmed in Palm Beach. I had a second winter home in Palm Beach and a lot of drone shots. Um, you always have to suffer somewhat to make videos. So I'd be there with the wind blowing me to pieces by the ocean, finger syncing. That's how you do
That was
videos and get good sound, of course.
that was my
So,
next question about the videos. I saw the video for Popcorn a bunch of times now, which is
oh, that's a fun one.
it's a fun song and a fun, colorful video. How comfortable are you with that part of the process and that part of the media, like music videos and promo and that kind of stuff?
Oh, I think it's fun. I've always had fun with whether it's filming the Adagio by Albinoni in Venice. A lot of these are kind of low budget videos, but I guess some of them got more fancy. Some are lyric videos for the L.O.V.E album, where I wanted people to clearly understand the words.
Right.
It's simpler than some of my complicated songs.
Mhm.
Um, but well, the lyric videos feature me singing and playing guitar, and some of it I filmed myself in Palm Beach, and I'm in my courtyard or in some location. I was taught how to use a high-end camera, and then I'd sort of set it and then run back to wherever I was and sit and film myself. That was a new experience, kind of nerve-wracking, but I think it came out really nicely. I'm very proud of all the videos, proud of this album, and it's so earwormy. It's those Latin melodies, they're all original. There's
Yeah.
only one song, which is Popcorn, that I did not write. That was a big disco hit in the 80s.
Yep.
I wanted to create an album that's full of happiness and joy to offset all the bad things that were happening in the world.
Yeah.
Some of my songs, like Living My Life Alone, those are kind of sad and some are nostalgic. But this one is just, you can dance to every single piece. I do exercises too, and then they get in my head. Um,
Is singing something that you've always done, or was that just
no,
that was just
I
in the last
never
10?
thought I could sing. I was always very self-conscious about singing, and I just love it. Though I toured for quite a few years here in the States and in Canada with different duo partners. I toured with a Croatian guy at the beginning. I discovered I could sing. It was a whole revelation.
Mhm.
I'm not Celine Dion, but
But you
people
have a
seem to
beautiful
really
voice.
enjoy my voice.
Yeah, you
Sorry?
do. You have a beautiful voice, so
Oh, thank you so much.
it is something that I wish you did the whole time.
Yeah, I kind of wish I'd written. Well, I always secretly wrote songs. I wrote some country songs, and I did an album with Chet Atkins. I went into the studio and made some demos. And I wrote a whole lot of Latin songs and had other professional people make the demos.
Right.
But then in the end, I thought, why don't I try and sing? And I was encouraged by the different people I sang. Each time I was a few years with a different partner, not a romantic partner, a duo partner. We filmed a whole Christmas special. You'll be able to see it again for the 5th year on PBS and also on CBC Gem. It's called A Winter Fantasy, and there's an album that goes with it.
Yep.
I'm kind of associated with Christmas. I have 3 Christmas albums.
Yep, I've seen it a few times, and I'm glad it's going to air again.
And Scott, I even played the recorder on
Again.
Greensleeves, my childhood instrument. I think every kid should have some exposure to music, particularly classical music. It really trains your brain well.
I have
It's a good,
frightening.
even if you end up being, a rocker or
Yeah.
whatever, classical bass is great. Oh, I should mention I did an audiobook. I recorded my whole autobiography.
Yep.
That one's called In My Own, what is it called?
In My Own Key,
In My Own Key,
Love
thank
and
you.
Music.
My Life in Love and Music.
And then you did another
Love's
one.
a reoccurring theme.
And then you did
I
another
just have
one.
a children's book that's, I don't know when this airs, but it's just coming out on all the different ways
Audio?
you buy audiobooks. Audible, yes, and I think Barnes and Noble and a
And
few others.
you did another book in 2017 called No Remedy for Love, which tied in with a record as well that you
Yes, the album is
um,
called No Remedy. It's a famous quote by a philosopher. And that talks a lot about my friendship with Prince Phillip, the late Prince Phillip,
mhm.
and some of the amazing experiences I had in Windsor Castle. Well, that's in the first book too, actually, because at that time I was married, took my husband there, met the royal family, met the Queen and Queen's mother and all the corgi dogs. I've been very privileged to have these peak experiences and stay overnight in the castle. And the last time I went back, I sang for Prince Philip, and I recited a poem I had written, and it was just one, a kind of pinch me moment. I
Right.
thought I probably will never see him again. He was my pen pal, and the children's book that I wrote, it's called The Cat Who Played Guitar. I remember Prince Philip once actually wished me and my cat Merry Christmas. We wrote so many letters back and forth. He just really, really was a huge fan of my music since the first time he heard me doing a Royal Command performance in Edinburgh. And I wrote a special piece for the Queen too. Then I wrote a piece about horses that I dedicated to him. So I miss those are some of the pillars of my life were my parents, both of whom are gone now, which is very sad for me. And also my friendship with Prince Philip. So that's the hardest thing about getting older, Scott. People
I
keep
know.
disappearing from my life.
How hard was it, Leona, to put the guitar down and kind of bare all to people in those books and kind of like, you're not hiding behind a microphone or a guitar in front of you anymore. You're just
No, but
talking.
I've always been like that. I feel that I've been so fortunate to have this career, and I sort of thought it was my duty almost to share the behind the scenes. It's not
Mhm.
all people make out to be, all the terrible Me Too moments I had to endure. I
Mhm.
escaped. I wrote about that a lot in my first book, actually,
Yep.
when I was living in the Beverly Hills Hotel. The trouble with certain managers and record companies, very chauvinist guitar world, and yet I was privileged to play with all kinds of other wonderful performers. Olivia Newton-John, she just checked out, which is very sad for me. She was
Yep.
one of my very best friends, and she sang on on one of my albums.
Yes, she did. I
We did
remember that.
Canadian Summer Dreams.
Mhm.
So sorry, what was the question? How,
No, I was
to
just
bare my
talking.
soul. Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
I do tell a lot. I mean, I got in trouble with some critics saying, but my book doesn't have anything too lewd or
Well, I think you wrote it in a way that it kind of, yeah, you were talking about some personal things, but at the same time, you kind of didn't divulge too much. Do you know what I mean?
my British mother, who was reading over the book and helping me edit it because I didn't have a professional editor on the first one. She said, "Oh, you can't say making love. Why don't you say intimate moments?" I was talking about Pierre Trudeau. I dated him for 8 years. She said, "No, don't say making love," because I said we made love to the sound of a loud Mahler symphony. And oh no, I had intimate moments. I said, "No, mother, the world has changed since you grew up in England."
Was she just saying don't talk about him that way, or about
No, there's a
anyone?
whole chapter on him. We
Well,
had so many different adventures, and
I can imagine.
I used to play with Justin when he was little,
Yeah.
and
You,
witnessed a lot of things in the childhood, and yeah, and he wanted me to have a daughter. So, but that's all ancient history now.
you talk about in the new book, especially, you talk about the focal dystonia, um,
Yes, that was not easy.
having to change your entire technique really because
Mhm.
of that. It's something that not a lot of people would do. Did you ever consider stopping, or did you know right away that you
I
just had to
did.
cut off?
I did stop for a while. I didn't perform, but I was
Right, but did
struggling.
you
It's
ever
only
say,
one finger. The brain is weird. It's if you overdo something. I mean, there's nothing physically wrong with any of my fingers. It's just the M finger, the middle finger, was doing more work than it should have, and it was throwing the alignment of my fingers. So many musicians have it.
"Hmm,
Um, you know, and I simplified my technique. I would have never sung if it hadn't been for um, vocal
Yeah.
dystonia.
Well,
And I
good, but that's
stopped doing the virtuoso classical pieces and playing with orchestras in 2003. But when you look back, that was kind of the best thing that happened to me, because I did an album called Seven Journeys, which was very spiritual. I had a whole experience of singing hundreds of concerts across the country. Um, um, you know, songwriting was very satisfying to me. If I hadn't have had that, I'd still be playing purely classical.
right. So it's
And
almost a blessing. Um,
yeah, a second career was
yeah,
given to me.
exactly. People
And you
say,
never
oh,
know what's coming next. Maybe I'll be a writer of more children's books. I think it's an ideal book for parents to read, grandparents to their children, because I
absolutely.
was read a lot too when I was a kid, and I love poetry. It's all in rhyming poetry. So it's called The Cat Who Played Guitar, and it's based on a real cat, who was my cat. Of course, he didn't really play guitar, but it's a fantasy. But you won't believe how I managed to stage the cover. And then Laura Fernandez, who is a fantastic illustrator who won awards with her former husband. They won international awards. I had the idea about 20 years ago. Anyway, she did the beautiful illustrations, and I'm very proud of it. It's taken a long time to come out. So finally.
I have grandchildren now, so I'm putting that on my list for
Oh,
sure.
please. It's a great Christmas gift. And it teaches also that, teaches children that to get anywhere in life, to accomplish something really great, you've got to be very dedicated and focused.
Yeah.
It comes out November 15th. It's all around the world, and of course on Amazon. We all buy stuff on Amazon these days.
Yep.
Yes. Audiobook and a hard, no, it's a hardcover in the US, I think, and a soft cover in Canada. But for kids, I don't think they're that fussy. They just want to hear
No.
the story and see the beautiful illustrations.
People say all the time that Liona Boyd brought classical guitar to the mainstream. Someone like Jesse Cook has kind of kept that going.
Yeah.
You were taught by, I mean, legends.
Yes.
People like André Segovia and Julian Breen.
Yes.
Have you ever considered teaching? I mean, you might have. I don't know how much teaching you've done, but has that?
I have in the past. I've done lots of master classes in different places. I remember, holding master classes in Beijing and Jakarta, and especially and also in like Winnipeg and many places across this country. And I was amazed, the guitar world now, it's changed completely. There are guitar orchestras. It's taught in most universities. When I started, it was just small little groups of classical guitar enthusiasts that would meet in church basements. And I never thought my career would take off. And a lot of it is due to Gordon Lightfoot, who took me on tour. We'd zoom off in his Learjet. And I loved being able to introduce people to the instrument. And they would sit and listen, thousands of people every night to classical guitar repertoire. So I think that's why I won so many Lifetime Achievements Awards in the US, because nobody had done that before. I was on the Tonight Show and the Merv Griffin Show and had my own TV specials. And I did take it into the public, the wider audience.
Right.
And
Did you enjoy teaching, Leona, or is that? I mean, people say that
I like the one-on-one teaching, and I like give it. Yeah, I guess I did enjoy it. I like to see the progress of my students. I just corresponded with one through LinkedIn yesterday. He became a famous film producer. He used to come to my parents' back room and take guitar lessons. I think I get like $8 a time. And then I used to teach at Ellie Caston's Guitar Academy, but it's not something I'm going to do now. It's just I don't think so. Maybe I'll do some videos, but I'm very busy with all kinds of things going on in my life.
You worked with everyone from Gordon Lightfoot. You mentioned Eric Clapton,
yes,
Alex Lifeson, Rik Emmett. I've seen Rik
and
Emmett.
By the way, and there are many, many great classical guitar teachers who didn't make it as performers. So I think there's no shortage of guitar teachers.
I've seen someone. Well, Rik Emmett is a great example. I've seen him play acoustic classical guitar.
Yes.
And He's amazing. As a Genesis fan, I've heard someone like Steve Hackett play a beautiful classical guitar, or Steve
Uh-huh.
Howe from Yes.
Oh,
Um,
Steve Howe is amazing.
has Leona Boyd ever picked up an electric guitar and just shredded like an Eddie Van Halen guitar solo?
I've
I've
picked up a
always wondered.
heavy classical guitar, but I was taught more classical. So,
I've always
um,
wondered that.
oh,
Has
I
has
tried
Leona?
Steve Morris's guitar, I remember,
Yeah,
because he played on my album Camino Latino. I had
right.
all kinds of guests from El Di Meola, many amazing players. That album wouldn't have happened had I not had Folk Dystonia, because I wanted a slightly easier technical. Although my playing was still pretty complex. We
Right.
did videos in Mexico where I used to live in the bull ring. I remember with a horse going around in circles and dancing on the rooftops. That was a lot of fun. And Julio Iglesias was even in town for one of the video shoots I did there. Anyway, back to guitar. No, I have great admiration for guitarists of all styles. Lenny Breau, did you? He was
Yep.
a jazz guitarist, and I'm not
Yep.
an expert at jazz. David Gilmour, of course, from Pink Floyd.
Well, and all of
We,
these guys, no matter what and girls, and Nancy Wilson is another, of all these guitar players, every one of them considers you to be somebody that they look up to, and someone that
oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
um,
Yeah, I have changed the lives of many youngsters too. I like when they come to my concerts because it was a concert that I went to when I was just, what was I, 13, 14, that changed my life. So I encourage parents to introduce their kids to the classical guitar. Wasn't as well known at all before, but it's cheap to buy. You can buy a reasonably priced guitar. You can travel.
mhm.
I played my guitar in a canoe on a TV thing we filmed up in the native part of Mississippi River for the Cree people, and I paddled for 2 weeks with my guitar in the canoe. So it's a very versatile instrument. You play so many different styles. And I played a lot in Latin America. Of course, they just eat it up there. Blondes and a classical guitar, oh boy.
I
I
can
had a
imagine.
lot of fans.
I can imagine. One of the
Got
things
a
I
new
missed.
video called Maradona that's coming out.
Oh, great.
It's I like the sound of the name Maradona, and
Mhm.
that'll be coming out very soon.
Um,
I think November 4th, actually.
so a new video November 4th, an audio book around about the same time.
Yes.
One of the things I miss most about my mom growing up in my house, she'd always have one of either Anne Murray, Rod Stewart, Roger Whittaker, or Leona Boyd playing.
Oh, I loved Roger Whittaker. He sang on
You've
one
worked
of my
with Roger.
songs,
Yeah.
a song I wrote called Christmas Dreams. Is he still
Um,
alive, Roger Whittaker?
I think he is.
I
I'll
hope
be
so.
honest. I'm not gonna. I believe he is. You mentioned Olivia Newton-John passing away recently, but
Yeah.
Roger, I believe, is still alive. But
Oh,
that's
good.
one of my oldest memories is my mother playing any of those four. She was a big fan of yours.
And Anne Murray, I did a concert with Anne Murray, and I used to, when I was just seeing if I could sing, I would sing along to some of hers. But she has a unique voice. But I talked to her a while ago, probably 10 years ago. I said, "Don't you sing anymore? Just around the house for fun?" She said, "No, I just don't sing."
She's
Mm,
happily retired.
yes,
Um,
she plays a lot of golf, I think.
I'm personally very thankful for your music, and I appreciate you taking time with me today in the record player. The new album is called L.O.V.E. I wish you the very best with it. Thank you for being with me today, Leona. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, Scott, and good luck with your show. And I hope you play guitar more than I do these days.
I unfortunately don't.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
I am a
Well,
music
you
guy,
do a
but
nice interview. Thank you.
oh, thank you so much. I don't have the kind of talent that you do for sure. Trust me. I appreciate it, and take care of yourself, and we'll see you going forward.
Okay. Take
Thank you,
care.
Leona.
Thank you, Heather.